Welcome to Myths, Monsters, and Murders. I'm Shandi Keppel.
And I'm Phyllis York.
We're just two Lebanon locals that came together and bonded over our love of all things creepy and mysterious. We are here to bring you the stories of Missouri's myths, cryptids, crimes, and murders with an emphasis on keeping it local. Today's story is not for the faint of heart. Descriptions may be graphic, so listener discretion is advised. Hey Phyllis, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm getting over a sinus infection, but other than that, I feel great.
Oh, everyone in my house has been sick. I have had chicken pox for two of my kids. It's absolutely disgusting. Highly don't recommend it. But apparently getting vaccinated does not mean you don't get chicken pox.
No.
Yeah. So 2 kids had chicken pox. My youngest had a stomach bug the last 2 days. So my house is sick and it's not been pleasant and I'm miserable.
Patient 0.
I know. We're going to be the reason the, next plague starts in Lebanon, Missouri.
Yuck.
So today I thought we would start our episode with a little word association game.
Yikes.
And I have not told you the words beforehand, so
that is true.
Yeah, you have no idea. So basically how it works is I'm going to start by saying a word, and I want you to tell me the first word that comes to mind. It can be anything at all, PG rated, of course.
All right.
Anything that pops into your head, just blurt it out.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Trick.
Treat.
Oh my God, you're really slow at this game.
Yeah, I suck.
Quicker. Candy.
Treat.
Oh my God, you can't say treat for everything.
Dang it.
Balls.
Beach.
Milk.
Chocolate.
Cheese.
Cream.
Cream cheese?
Cream cheese. It's yummy.
Okay, Italian.
Ooh la la.
I'm pretty sure that's French and not Italian.
Oh, dang it.
Pizza.
Pasta.
That was a good one, but after today's story, I really feel like the first word that should pop into your mind after I say pizza is murder.
Dun dun dun.
June 13th, 1996 started the same as every other day in Lebanon, Missouri. People traveled to their jobs at several local factories. Parents shuffled children to daycare for the workday, and restaurants began to open their doors. The community of Lebanon did not expect to be rocked by such a brutal crime, but that's exactly what happened that day. Lisa Lawson, the on-again, off-again girlfriend of Ulysses Ray Deckard, better known as Ray, worked at Mazzio's Pizza. Now, based on information I have gleaned regarding this case and all the individuals involved, the least amount of information can be found about Lisa online.
Right. That's what I found too.
Her relationship with Ray, I believe we can probably assume, was rocky at best.
Yeah, that's what I read as well. And that family members of Ray that reached out to me said that it was volatile at best.
Not good.
Yes.
I don't think that any relationship described as on again, off again. Sometimes you're a live-in girlfriend, sometimes you're not. It's probably not the healthiest. While Lisa does play a huge part in what happened at Mazzio's that day, she is not the center of this story.
On June 13th, 1996, Lisa asked Ray to move out of the home that they shared together, and strangely enough, Ray did begin to make preparations to move out of that shared home. At some point, Ray left the shared home and immediately made his way to Lisa's parents' home. It was reported that Lisa's brother had borrowed a single-barrel 12-gauge shotgun from him for turkey season, and he had gone to retrieve it.
Can we just clarify, can somebody clarify for me, in the state of Missouri, when is turkey season? It's not summertime, right? Isn't it in the fall?
I don't know why I'm asking. I've never hunted anything. I can't catch a mouse.
Sorry, I'm just trying to brainstorm why. Okay, it's June. You've just been told, get out of the house, and now all of a sudden you want your 12-gauge shotgun back.
Turkey season.
Turkey season. Anyway,
Duck season.
somebody from Missouri,
Rabbit
please
season.
tell me when turkey season is, because my dad's going to be so ashamed that I don't know it. So carry on.
Okay. Ray also reportedly test-fired the shotgun at some point during this day before the incident. And after taking back the shotgun, Ray also reportedly went by his body shop to get a screwdriver to take apart a waterbed.
Did he own a body shop?
I'm not sure if he owned a body shop, but you know what I don't do on rabbit season or duck season or turkey season? Go take apart a waterbed.
But he was told he's being moved out of the shared home, so maybe they shared a waterbed. Listen, as someone who's been divorced, whose ex-husband moved out of her home while she was gone,
Yikes.
he stole the bed. Like, took the bed. I came home and had no bed.
Oh, God.
So I semi-believe that he wanted the waterbed. I don't blame him in this situation, but I do want to know if he owned a body shop. The only thing I could find was that he went to his body shop, but I didn't find anything about him owning.
All right.
So maybe
That's
it was
weird. One of
maybe it
our
was a family.
stories later in this season, the guy owned a body shop in that one too.
Oh, a body shop. I'm a car shop, not like human body shop.
But we have that story later too.
Oh, jeez, lovely. All right.
So after getting these items, Ray returned back to the shared home of him and Lisa and reported that he grabbed several other guns from the home and placed them in the trunk of his car. Ray then recalled moving the shotgun to the front seat of the vehicle at this point. At 11 a.m., Ray drove Lisa to work at Mazzio's Pizza.
So just as a quick reminder, all of this information about, Ray being asked to move out of the home and what he did after being asked to move out of the home, this is all coming directly from Ray after everything has happened. So this is what he's reporting that he did in this situation.
Right.
Okay, just wanted to make that clear.
And later we do have a first-hand interview with someone that was there when the murder happened. And so it goes pretty well along with what he said happened. I mean, he may have been a jerk, but he had a good memory.
He wasn't a liar. I mean, not this time anyway.
Right.
So at this point, Ray said that he went back to the home that him and Lisa lived in together, and he drank a few beers, played basketball with some neighborhood kids, and then sat down to watch television. In a court document that we were able to locate regarding Ray and the crime, it says that Ray returned home and quote-unquote piddled around.
Piddled around.
Yes.
That's
and ended up having a conversation with Lisa's sister, who is named Christy Rogers.
Right.
And so Lisa's sister told Ray that Wade Heisey, our victim, and just to clarify, Wade is the manager at Mazzio's Pizza at this point in time.
That is correct.
So he is Lisa's manager. She considers him a friend. There's some speculation that relationship at one point had been romantic, but was not at that point romantic. While Ray is talking to Christy tells him that Wade intended on taking Lisa and Lisa's daughter, quote unquote, cruising that night. I just want to say that I really love that cruising is being used because that was still a thing when I was in high school.
Aww.
And I'm assuming that by saying cruising that night, they mean they're just going to go drive around town. And I can't remember.
Yes, you drive from Hidden Valley Car Wash, you drive down Elm Street, you turn on Jefferson, and you turn around in McDonald's parking lot, and you do that 700 times.
So you
That's
knew
how
where they
cruised.
You knew where they were cruising at.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were going cruising, and obviously, Ray has some anger problems.
Yes.
Ray becomes enraged, absolutely upset, and Christy reports at this time that Ray actually punched the television and cracked the screen.
Yes.
Not surprising. It's going to sound really mean, but I've seen a lot of fragile men punch holes in walls, punch windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, not
Divorce
surprised. Yeah, divorce that.
Yeah. And now, a word from our sponsors. Shondi, do you know what I love? Costume parties. I want a Great Gatsby themed Christmas party.
Where are you going to find costumes this time of year?
Ozark Vision's costume shop. John is open year-round, and I can even order a Roaring Twenties balloon sculpture while I'm there.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, it will be. It will be.
Ozark Vision's costume shop on East 32 in Lebanon.
So Ray was obviously a very angry person to begin with, and this is something that his family that has reached out to me has said very many times. They've said that he was not a good guy. He was always angry. He was always into trouble. And then they said very specifically, do not put my name on there because I don't want him knowing it was me. Even in prison, they don't want anyone to know it was him, to know it was them. So this is from Christy's point of view, not Ray's, this part, which becomes real important in a minute. So Ray obviously was a very angry person to begin with. Christy witnessed him take the shotgun that he had retrieved earlier from Lisa's parents' home from the trunk of his car and placed it in the front seat. And I need to pause here and remind everyone that this statement from Lisa's sister directly contradicts what Ray said in another court document. If you remember, Ray reported that the shotgun was already in the front seat. I think we are all pretty clear about where this is going. I mean, we're on a podcast called Myths, Monsters, and Murders, so...
Ray at this time decides, I'm going to take a drive to Mazzio's Pizza. At approximately 2 p.m., Ray arrived at Mazzio's. Obviously, he's angry. He's pretty upset. So Lisa spots Ray pulling up outside and decides to go out and try to talk to Ray in the parking lot. I think at this point, Lisa probably is just trying to diffuse the situation. She knows Ray's angry. She probably has a pretty good idea of how he reacts when he's mad or angry about something. So I think in her mind, she thought, I'll go outside, I'll try to head him off, I'll try to stop whatever is about to happen. Ray, not listening to anything Lisa says, he just began to immediately question her about whether or not the information that Christy had told him was true. Now, if you remember, Christy told Ray that Wade, the manager at Mazzio's Pizza, was going to take Lisa and her daughter cruising. And Lisa denied knowing anything about it, didn't have a clue what Ray was talking about. So, obviously, he didn't believe Lisa.
So obviously Ray did not believe Lisa. Ray took this opportunity to retrieve the shotgun from his front seat. He entered the restaurant and began to confront Wade Heisey. Now at this point, the gun was not pointed at Wade, but Ray did approach Wade when he was standing behind the counter next to the register and began to yell at him and try to convince him to step outside with him.
I think we all know what step outside means. Ray basically wanted to have a physical altercation with Wade.
Correct. The court document specifically makes a point to say Ray's tone was not conversational and was very angry.
So clearly Wade was like, hold up, no way, I'm not going outside with you. Because honestly, who would?
Not me.
If someone with a shotgun is yelling at me, trying to get me to come outside, I'm not going outside. Period.
Oprah taught me, never go to the second location.
I'm going to show my age right now and say that went right over my head.
Anytime that a kidnapper tries to take you to a second location, they're going to kill you. So if if the kidnapper ever tries to take you to the second location, it's better to fight it out there than to roll into that trunk, baby.
Well, that is exactly what happened. So eventually Lisa again attempts to step in to intervene and de-escalate the situation. Ray shoves her out of the way. Then Wade's sister, Wanda Wen, steps in to try to help, and Wade shoves her out of the way. I'm not sure if Wanda also worked at Mazzio's, or was she just there?
I believe she worked there as well.
She did work there. Okay. I didn't find anything about that, but you know more about this stuff than I do.
There was a lot of people that worked at Mazzio's. My husband had worked there just prior to this, and my husband's cousin still worked there when this happened.
Good Lord. So all I can say is, given what happened next, both Wanda and Lisa are extremely lucky.
Yes. You know what else I need for my Great Gatsby party?
No, what now?
I need some gorgeous 1920s Art Deco glassware.
Where are you ever going to find that?
At Mr. Eclectic in Lebanon. While I'm there, I'm going to drool over the mid-century modern chairs I saw yesterday. Ugh, so much orange.
That place is great. They are always posting their sales on their Facebook page.
Bobby and Tony are the best. They have an amazing selection.
Mr. Eclectic, 304 West 2nd Street in Lebanon.
Wade then begins to reach for the phone, presumably to call the cops. Ray then raises the shotgun, points it at Wade's head, and tells Wade in a very direct and highly inappropriate language, "You're going to pick up that beeping phone. I'm going to blow your beeping head off."
I love that you just edited yourself.
We don't even
need a producer. Ken's out of a job.
Look how many takes this took us. We need a producer.
That's true.
Despite Wade placing the phone back on the receiver, Ray did exactly what he'd been threatening to do for so long. On June 13th, 1996, Ray Deckard shot and killed Wade Heisey. My Mother Rode by Phyllis York. Some journeys only happen once in 2 lifetimes. For her 17th birthday, Matilda Banks receives letters written by her mother, who disappeared when she was an infant, and sets off to follow her along Route 66. Will she be able to solve the mystery surrounding her mother's disappearance, or lose herself along the way? My Mother Rode, available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook at phyllisyork.com, Amazon, and wherever you order your books. Last week, I had an opportunity to interview Jennifer Perryman. She was an eyewitness to the murder of Wade Heisey. A little heads up, the sound quality isn't great because we were recording the interview outside. I'm with Jennifer Perryman today. Jennifer, is it okay if I record you?
Yes.
On June 13th of 1996 is when the murder at Mazzio's happened. How did you happen to be there that day?
My ex-husband was my boyfriend at the time, was working there. So I was hanging out, just kind of hanging out until he got done working. I was going to work there, but I hadn't started quite yet. So kind of just hanging out with him at the time.
How old were you?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah.
And can you tell me what you remember about it?
We were just sitting there, and there was only a handful of people in the store, so it was kind of quiet and everything. He came in. I was sitting at one side, and he came in the other side from the door. And I saw a guy with a gun, but it doesn't really compute in your head like there's a guy with a gun at first. By the time I realized what was going on, interactions were taking place and stuff. And it was pretty fast. It was only like a small period of time, but he came in with the gun down, and there was some yelling and stuff going on, and they were yelling about Lisa Deckard, or I'm not sure what, Lawson. She tried to intervene. They argued a little bit back and forth, and he kicked her out of the way back into the kitchen. And then my ex had come up. I was pregnant, and he was like, "Please just let us go. She's pregnant," and all that. And he said, "I'm not here for you. Sit down and leave me alone." So we did, of course, because we're scared. We were kids. And Wade's sister Wanda had come in and was like, "Stop," and trying to get him to stop. And he kind of pushed her out of the way. The manager, Andy, had ran to the back to call the cops on the phone in the back. It was all kind of just so fast. Wanda had been, after he pushed Wanda out of the way, Wade and Ray were talking, and he was like, "You need to come outside with me." Wade was saying, "I'm not going to do that. You need to, you got to calm down." And he went to answer her when he went to get to the phone. And that's whenever he shouldered the gun, and he said, if you touch the phone, I'll effing kill you. And so Wade brought his hand down slow, and he just turned a little bit to the drive-through window. Pow. And of course, after that, there's chaos. Ray runs out the door, and I didn't see him beyond that, but he was running out the door, and we were all, trying to help, and it was pretty evident that it was too late. So, I mean, it all happened pretty fast, but that's about the gist of it, really. There was a lady and her grandson, and they were trying to get out of there and stuff, but it really was concentrated to that right at the front by the register. It just, in a span of probably a minute,
Yeah.
that whole thing went down, and then it was over and chaos.
Yeah. How has witnessing that event, affected your life?
Now I'm pretty okay. I mean, it's still a horrible thing, but at the time, that was pretty jarring.
Yeah.
I hadn't, from a little bitty town, I've not seen stuff like that go on, let alone be right there to witness it. That was kind of a rough period of a few months for us to get through. We were both young. My ex was 18, 19. So we did some counseling and talking to different people and stuff, and kind of figured out how to move on without letting that, keep us there.
Yeah.
So
After shooting Wade, Ray went on the run. It's been reported by an inside source that has a personal connection to Ray that after running and hiding, Ray called his sister Juanita from a payphone. And I think it's very interesting that we have Juanita mentioned in this story, because she will also be part of a case that we cover later on. What's that one called?
The Frozen Tears murder. She's the only living survivor of the Frozen Tears murders.
Yeah, that took place at Fort Leonard Wood, which is literally 30 minutes up 44 from Lebanon. So Ray calls Juanita, and I don't know exactly what took place during that conversation. I don't think we were given a whole lot of details about, what she said and what he said, but it's been reported that Juanita was able to convince Ray to turn himself in. And after turning himself in, Ray did make a statement to the police, and during it, he claimed that he did not think the shotgun was loaded when he pointed and pulled the trigger. But I just want to remind everyone that earlier in the episode, Ray was also reporting that he had test fired the shotgun when
Correct.
he picked it up from Lisa's parents'
Right.
home. So I don't for a second believe that he did not know that shotgun was loaded.
I agree.
So Phyllis, now we want to take this opportunity to talk about Wade a little bit more and who he was as a person and what he meant to his friends and family in the community.
Wade Heisey was more than just the manager at Mazzio's. He was a friend, he was a confidant, he was a brother. Wade was always there with a shoulder to cry on. He gave the best advice. His sister, Wanda, said that he never had a bad word to say about anyone. And all of the employees that I spoke with said he was just a kind and upstanding man. He is loved and missed. This has been over 24 years ago now, and his absence is still felt in this town. Wade Heisey may have died that day, but his memory will live on. Ray was charged with 1 count of murder in the first degree and 1 count of armed criminal action. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. He currently resides in the Missouri Department of Corrections at Western Missouri Corrections Center in Cameron, Missouri. Now, some people in our Facebook group mentioned something about him getting out soon, but trust me when I say he isn't getting out anytime soon. All his appeals have been denied, and while I wish this was the end of our story about Ray, he really is the gift that keeps on giving when it comes to beeped up stuff.
And we'll have more about that after the break with a word from this week's sponsors.
you know I love Gatsby, but did you know that I'm also a Marvel fangirl?
Marvel or DC fangirl?
Well, I love Marvel. I'm Team Loki all the way.
Oh, I'm Team Dad Bod Thor. It's my favorite.
Oh, he's adorable. Well, no matter whether it's sci-fi or comics or what kind of fangirling or fanboying you need to do, you can just go over to Massey's Comics. They have everything.
Check them out in the Interstate Shopping Center just down from King Cash Saver.
Shaundi, how many times have you been married?
Oh, well, Phyllis, I am on my second marriage now, and hopefully it stays at that number.
You got a pretty good husband now.
I do.
He's pretty sweet.
He puts up with a lot from me.
Well, it's good. It's good to have a good one.
Yeah, I'll keep him around. So, Phyllis, how many times have you been married?
A lot. I've been married 3 times. I got married when I was a teenager, as teenagers in the backwoods of Ozarks sometimes do. And then
I would just like to point out that we do not condone children getting married.
Amen. Don't get married.
Don't do it. Phyllis
Don't
is
get married.
first-hand experience. Don't do it.
No. But my first husband's, we're friends now. He's really stepped up and he takes care of my daughter a lot, and he's a pretty good guy. And he's always out repping our podcast.
He's always on there.
Yeah, he's always sharing stuff every day and sending me links to things. And
My ex-husband hates me, so that's probably never going to happen.
my second ex-husband hates me. He hates me so bad that our marriage ended on Divorce Court, the TV show.
All can be viewed. Wait, can we find it on YouTube?
You can try.
I'm totally going to try to find it and post it in the Facebook
Do
group
it, yeah.
now.
2004, baby.
2004. Don't show your age, Phyllis.
I was a toddler.
So,
My third marriage, mwah, he's perfect.
oh yeah, number 3. We love the third one. He's the best. Wait,
Yes.
is that the one we have now?
Yes, that's
Yes,
Ken.
that's what we do love him. He's
Yeah,
great.
I love you, Ken.
So, if you have ever been an inmate in Washington County, Missouri, which I did not have any idea where this county was, because literally I travel in my tiny circle and that's just how it is. So apparently Washington County is the county that Potosi Correctional Center resides in. So if you've ever been incarcerated in Washington County and have said to yourself, dang, I'd like to get married now.
And why wouldn't you?
You now have the legal right as an inmate to get married, all thanks to our new friend, Ray Deckard.
I don't know if I'd call him a friend.
So in 2013, Ray Deckard once again made news from behind bars this time. While incarcerated in Potosi Correctional Center, so like we said, he's obviously not there anymore. He's in a new correction center, and it's very common for inmates to be shuffled around to various, Department of Corrections centers. So while he was at Potosi Correctional Center, Ray actually became engaged to a woman.
Aww.
I know, and her name was Michelle Nichols.
Like the lady from Star Trek?
No, that would be Nichelle Nichols.
Oh, Uhura.
He couldn't get that lucky. So, as anyone who's been married in Missouri, and as someone who's been married twice now, and you have been married 3 times now, we are both pretty well versed in the process. Both parties have to sign the marriage license in the presence of the recorder of deeds or the deputy or someone acting in that capacity in the county that you intend on getting married in.
Huh.
So, I specifically remember in my first marriage having to go to Greene County and doing the whole holding your right hand up. We went to the office. We swore that we were not related to each other because Missouri does not condone cousin marriage.
No, just cousin.
Oh, stop it. So,
That family reunions. I don't know where you thought I was going.
obviously, Ray isn't able to leave the correctional center to go to the office to sign anything. So, at this point, I have to question Michelle's judgment. First off, You are engaged to a convicted felon.
A murderer.
A murderer.
Moiterer.
A moiterer. But I will say I am very, very impressed with her persistence.
So during this time, Judy Cresswell Moyers was the recorder of deeds in Washington County. Well, Michelle requested that Judy travel the 3.3 miles from Washington County Courthouse to Potosi Correctional Center to go witness Ray's signature herself.
And I did I Google mapped Washington County Courthouse, where the Recorder of Deeds office is at, how long it would take to drive from there to Potosi Correctional Center, and Google told me 3.3 miles, and it literally would have taken her 6 minutes. I'll give her maybe an hour, because you have to go get patted down and do the strip search and everything. I don't think they actually strip search you, but you have to be searched, so maybe an hour of her day.
So Judy was like, no, it's not happening. And I'm sure she was far more professional about it than I would be after refusing to go to the correctional center. Michelle said, okay then, what about a signed affidavit or some other documentation from Ray to prove he signed the marriage license? Judy said no, that wouldn't work either. So at this point, Michelle had run out of options. She wants to marry Ray. True love and all that. Although I cannot imagine why, but she's been blocked at every avenue, so she decides that her only option is to sue Judy Moyer.
Now, I'm not trying to say that Judy Moyer is purposely trying to prevent Michelle from marrying Ray, although I think at this point we can all agree that it's probably not the best plan.
Right.
I do think that Judy, she believes that she is following the law, because Missouri has state statutes that dictate how these things can be done. And Judy thinks in her mind, this is what the state statute tells me to do. This is what I have to do. And I don't think she just woke up one day and said, hey, look, I don't want these two people to get married. I think she thinks in her mind that what the law tells her, that's what she is going to follow.
As somebody that doesn't speak legalese, from what I can gather from the court documents regarding this particular case, both Judy and Michelle agreed that the judge had to be the one to make a decision and tell Judy how to proceed. So Michelle sues Judy, saying that the Missouri statute dictating how signatures on marriage license must be witnessed by either the recorder of deeds or their deputy or whatever is unconstitutional towards incarcerated individuals. Michelle has the fundamental right to be married under the 14th Amendment, so the requirement for witnessing signatures obviously impedes Michelle's ability to get married to Ray. So fortunately, Judy and Michelle agreed, so no hearing was required for this case, but the judge did agree. He found that the statute was unconstitutional and relieved Judy of the requirement of herself or her deputies witnessing signatures in person on marriage licenses for individuals incarcerated in Washington County. The judge ordered that written proof as to the authenticity of the signature was enough to allow an incarcerated individual to be married. There was even a new form created to satisfy the burden of written proof. It requires the warden or the warden's designee to sign authenticating the signature. If you're an incarcerated individual in Washington County and you've been allowed to get married while incarcerated in Washington County after 2013, you have one person to thank, Ray Deckard.
And I know none of that had anything to do with the original case we covered as far as the murder of Wade Heisey, but I did find it very interesting that, one, Ray didn't just slink away into prison and languish, and two, he found someone that actually wanted to marry him. And I watch a lot of Love After Lockup and Life After Lockup. I know there's probably some listeners out there that know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm very educated in matters of prison relationships. But I have a lot of questions, like, what did Michelle see in Ray? First off, how did they meet? Because there are prison pen pal websites. Did you know there is also prison pen pal TikTok?
What?
Yes. And they post, because you now do video phone calls.
Yeah.
On JPay. Exactly, JPay. We're familiar with JPay. Let me just say that Phyllis has attempted to JPay a, convicted murderer before to, talk to him, but that's beside the point. So yes, there's prison TikTok where it is videos that are recorded on TikTok from JPay, and like some of these people look pretty decent for being in prison. Honey, I love you. I just want to clarify. I love my husband. I am not that desperate to get on Love After Lockup. However, like prison TikTok, it's a thing. You should go down that rabbit hole, because I have gone down that rabbit hole and it's a nice looking rabbit hole.
I always end up on the lesbian traumatic childhood side of TikTok. I don't know. I'm not a lesbian.
I need you to update your algorithm.
I mean, 2/3 of my children are lesbians, I think, today.
Maybe that's it. Maybe your phone can hear
that's it.
All
probably.
of those things. Maybe that's why I got prison TikTok, because I watched so much Love After Lockup. Listen, if you've never, I'm going to make you watch Love After Lockup with me. I TiVo every episode. Friday nights, guys. Friday nights. It's great. Brittany and Marcelino, if you're ever listening to this, whoop whoop, love you. Phyllis, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's a thing. So I think that wraps up this week's episode.
It does.
It's very unfortunate that I can now no longer eat at Mazzio's without...
They stripped that place completely to the bones and had a company come in and clean it out. I remember.
You have to.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll talk to you next week. And I'll put hints to what the next episode will be on our Facebook page.
This is Myths, Monsters, and Murders.
Bye.
Bye.
Myths, Monsters, and Murders, hosted by Phyllis York and Shondi Keppel, produced by Ken York. Tune in next time.